So before we get into this, I just want to show you where this eventually goes towards. It's the back. This is definitely not finished, but it is starting to come together. So I will say this ended up being a much more frustrating process than I expected. There were moments that things work, but there were definitely moments where you can visibly tell in the video that I got frustrated. But I left that in intentionally because my videos, it's the thoughtful beginner, and that's what it really feels like to be a beginner, especially when you're doing something new for the first time. I did add chapters, so if you don't want to sit through me like showing my frustration or that, I have made it so that you can jump around to different sections by looking at the chapters in the notes. So, but if you like longer videos and just putting things on in the background like I do when I knit, then this is exactly that kind of video. So, yeah, let's jump into it. I got my yarn from Knitting for Olive for my very first sweater, and I'm a little bit nervous about that because, well, I've only ever knit 2 socks, well, 3 socks now, and a third of another sock, but I'm gonna go for it. Oh, it's a lot more gray than blue. So I got the merino to hold one of these, and I believe 2 of these, which I've never held yarn double or triple before, but we're gonna go for it. So this is gonna be my first sweater, so that will be coming up. So I did some straight and some in the round. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm guessing per my usual, I'm way overdoing it on the pins. So my third bag of yarn has just arrived, and I'll explain to you why. I kind of did in my last video, but these I ordered soft blue. I was thinking of getting a pale blue sweater to do the Veronica Lindbergh The Late Checkout sweater. So I ordered soft blue, and what I got was this, which looks more like this gray pair of pants here than any blue, and so I was a little disappointed. I really didn't want to make, I mean, I don't want to call it a boring gray sweater, but a boring gray sweater for my very first sweater. I mean, my socks so far have been these rainbow ones and these current ones right here. If I was going to do a neutral, I would have done a light tan. So let me pull my hair down. But so this is the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair and the merino. Wonderful yarn, but as you can see, this is really gray to me. So after reaching out with them, and these are the swatches, or the 3rd and 4th swatch that I did just for gauge. And these just look straight up gray to me. So I reached out to them and said, what can I do basically to get 2 sweaters quantities worth? Replace the merino for one sweater, replace the mohair for the other sweater. And I was thinking light green and still the pale blue, which I was originally intending to do. So they recommended 2 greens. I picked the lighter of the 2 greens because I wanted them to go together, which was, it's a beautiful green. Again, these are all Knitting. It's a beautiful green. This is the Dusty Artichoke. And as you can see, it's a gorgeous green color. And the plan was to mix these 2 together to get a pale green sweater. And then I ordered ice blue to create, to hold ice blue and this to hold with my gray merino. I'll show you that. Unfortunately, the green came first, and this is as big of a swatch as I got, because this far in I realized I hated it. I don't know if it's going to show up well on screen. I'm going to try to hold it up, but what it looks like is a gray sweater that somebody has left outside and let it mildew, and so now it has patches of mold growing through it. So it does not look like light green, it looks like gray with mold. So I didn't want to waste any more yarn. Let me see if I can get close enough and if it comes across on screen. If not, I'll try to take a picture. I kind of hope it does. That's the only way I know how to describe it. It's like gray blue cheese. And I hated it. So I stopped, and I got really worried that the blue wasn't going to work either. And I wanted to start this sweater last week, and all I've been doing is swatches. So I went ahead and went online to Wool & Company, ordered like, I was interested again in the green. I really loved there's a dark purple that they have, which I'll find it when I open it. I haven't opened this package yet. And some pale pinks. So I loved the plum color, but I was afraid on a beginning sweater that it would be too dark. I know it's recommended to not do dark colors, but what I did was just order one ball of each before ordering a sweater quantity worth, because now I have a sweater quantity worth of this, a sweater quantity worth of this, and I don't like them. I think I can hold this single and make like a nice lighter weight top. So it's not going to go to waste. It's just not going to work for this sweater. So this was out. And in the meantime, after I'd ordered that, the ice blue did come in. I think the ice blue, if I would have just ordered that straight, would have been perfect, because this was the color of sweater that I was hoping to make. So I knitted up a swatch held with the gray to see if it was blue enough, and I'm undecided. And I might be okay with it though. I think this one looks pretty. It doesn't look like green mold or anything, so I'm undecided on this one. But what I'm really excited about is that the other samples got here. So I was going to open that with you. I did tear the top, but I have not even looked inside yet. I realized I was going to film it. I think this is the one. Yes, this is the one. So let's see what we've got there. Oh, I already like this color. So this is the merino. This is ballerina. I'm not sure. Can I wear this color? I'm not sure that I can wear. I love this. I'm not sure that I can wear this color. We'll have to decide. So beautiful. I love that. And then I got two or three different colors of the mohair to hold with it. So this is the ballerina in this, which I think is so pretty. I really would love to make a sweater in this, but excuse me, my husband's downstairs. I'd really love to make a sweater in this, but I don't know if it's too pale for my skin. We'll see. So here's both balls of that. And then to hold with it, this one's pretty, not that much different. A tiny bit more tan. And this is the soft rose. You can see the difference between the two there. So let's see. That has the potential to be really pretty. So I'm gonna have to knit several swatches to see what color I like. And then I got two of these because I thought I was really gonna like this color with it. This is the rose clay. And this is with the soft rose. Ooh, that's pretty too. And this is with the ballerina. So I'm gonna have to try multiple combinations this weekend and see what I end up with. But I do like this rose clay. I don't know if that's a color I can wear. So we're gonna have to play with all the pinks. Oh, and I added this one just in case I wanted it a little bit brighter. This is Poppy Rose. I can pick 2 of them. Technically I could pick 3 because she did do a pink one with 3. So we'll see. I'm gonna knit some swatches, not gauge swatches. I already know what size needle I need to use. It's on pattern, and I knit the same in the round as I do flat. So I'm really gonna be knitting for color tests. Okay, so pink is a potential. Pale blue is a potential. Not the green. Well, not that green. But then, ooh, I really like this. I have to decide what I want this sweater to be. This is the Dusty Sea Green in both. Ooh, this is a pretty color. And I know I can wear greens like that. I have to be careful that they don't turn me green. So I'll have to do a swatch of this too. But this might not be too dark. I mean, I've crocheted before, so I've knit on my, this many tiny stitches at this size. I can read my stitches, I'm pretty sure, in almost any color but black. So very beautiful there. Oh no, now I have too many places. And this is the last one, and this is the one I'm super curious about. This is called the Plum Clay, which is very more brown than in here, but I love this purple. So, and this is not too dark either. Man, now I'm going to have to really decide what I want my first sweater to be. Oh, which means I'm going to be knitting swatches all week, and I'm going to get enough of the, I need one more ball of each of these to be able to get started while I'm waiting. Not this, but of these, because you hold them together. Although this might be really pretty. I don't know. I've got a lot of swatching to do this weekend, so I wanted to share my new yarn mail. I wanted to share my new yarn mail with you. So I have all of this pretty, let's see if I can, prettiness to go through. But I will share those, and we'll see. We're working towards the sweater. Gauge swatches are done. Now it's just color swatches. So I'll be back. get through this part and then I'll talk to you about it. Okay, update. Because as you can obviously see, when I last filmed, I cast on 3 or 4 times and then called it quits because you do make one right and make one left, and you do it both on the knit and the purl side. And I did all my research beforehand, and everyone said to not get holes, to twist the yarn, or I don't know what it was. But somehow, between watching those videos and watching her video and looking at the instructions, I wrote down like a cheat code so that, it said like on odd rows, which are knit, the first stitch is go in through the front and then knit in the back. So it just would say front and back. And then the next one said on the second knit, because at the end you do one at each end, you go in through the back and knit through the front. And then I had for even rows, purl rows, I had written down what you do for the purls. And somehow on the first purl, I had that you came from the back and you knit in the back. So I think this was the main reason, but I had holes in both sides, so I'm not sure why, because it would have been this only one. So that was part of the problem. I was knitting through the wrong side because I'd written down my instructions wrong. And being a beginner, I didn't know that it was wrong. So I was getting holes in my work. I frogged it so many times. And then this is scary, but I put into ChatGPT a picture of my work, and it said, let's slow down and start. I had moved to a swatch at that point because I was tired of starting this over and over. And I might have the swatch that I did. Yeah, I worked on this. So as you can see, in the beginning here, I was getting these holes on each side where I was doing a decrease. And they don't look terrible, but you can see there's, well, not when it's like that, but there's holes in there. So then I found out all these different ways that you can increase and decrease. And I tried, lifted ones and that. But what I found out is you can't do lifted ones on every row because you're lifting the same stitch over and over, and then it just stretches and stretches and then it starts to pucker. So that one was out. And I tried a couple other ones. I never tried knit front and back, which I think you can do every row. But regardless, I got to this point and I was like, okay, I just need to learn how to do the make one rights and lefts right because I can't avoid them for the rest of my life. So I went in, showed some pictures, and then it said, okay, do these steps one at a time. And when I did it on here, which was up here, I have no holes. So doing it correctly in the first place probably would have got me no holes. Well, anyway, I was too superstitious to try to film it again because I literally cried that night and thought I'm going to have to pick a different sweater because I won't be able to do this. But I got it, cast on. The top of this is knit so tight because I was just holding on and knitting like so close to the tips and knitting for dear life. But what I have now, this is the back panel, but this will be the neckline. This will be the shoulders where it comes down and on across the back. And I only have about another 2 centimeters to go on this part, and then I will cut this yarn, and my first time ever, I guess it's not my first time picking up stitches because on socks, picking up stitches is what you do on the gusset. But I'm going to do a very similar, I'm going to pick up stitches along these 40 stitches here and start the front shoulder on the right or the left. I can't remember what it is. And then I will finish that, and then I will do the same thing on this side, and then I'll go from there. So I will have the back and the top part finished. But yeah, so I would say I won't count that first day. So on the first actual knitting day, I probably made it to about here. I might have a picture of that. And then yesterday I made it to about here. I've only knit a few rows this morning. So this will be day 3 of me. I'm going to do about 2 more centimeters on this. And then I might film when I start picking up the stitches. I think I'm going to try it with the needle, but I suspect I'm going to go back to the crochet hook because when I did it on the gusset, it was too fiddly. Now I'm going to try it on here just because this is bigger needles. But if it's too fiddly, I'm just going to go with the crochet hook because it's really, really easy. So I'm going to keep knitting and come back. Oh, I did want to talk about, let me see if I can do this now. So you can barely see it right here. Like I would have to point it out to you, and in a full sweater you would. But I sent this picture into my beginner knitter Facebook group and asked what happened here. If you look at the front, I didn't miss any stitches. I sent them like a short video and then this, and I had 2 choices. What they think is I slipped a stitch here instead of purling or knitting a stitch. And because it's a slipped stitch and not a dropped stitch, it's not going to unravel. And because I'm such a tight knitter, I don't have like a big gaping hole here. I mean, if you push really hard, you can, but this sweater has a lot of ease on it, so it's not gonna do anything. But I had a choice to make because I was about 12 rows past it when I noticed it, so I was about here. And I have learned how to ladder back one time, and I laddered back like 3 rows. And I asked, one lady said you should ladder back because it's a mistake. And then 6 other people on the Facebook page out of the 7 that said it's a tiny thing. If you can live with it, just let it be because it's not going to fall apart. And I decided, first of all, once this is blocked, you won't even notice it. But second, because I frogged like 7 times and it took me 2 days to get to this point, I was too nervous to practice laddering down that much and trying to fix a stitch on my sweater that I had made this far. So what I will do is at some point when I'm, ready to put this down, I'm going to create a swatch that's similar and create that situation and practice laddering down on that. It was it was a risk that I wasn't willing to take at the point for what this is. So just wanted to talk about that. Now I've created a disaster. I can tell you that knitting with 3 strands can get a little chaotic. I'm glad I did it. I love the fabric that it makes, but they like this thing. I don't know if you can see it. This thing helps because I'm able to put 1 ball here, 1 ball here, and 1 ball here, so it keeps them separated when they're coming out. But I don't know how when I'm pulling evenly. Like, look at how much longer this one is. Now I have to pull them all so that they get to be the same length again. But they get twisted, and so like here I can pull it, but now I've got to pull this one tight. So it is a little bit of a pain, but it hasn't been too horrible. But it does make it a little more difficult, but that's okay. See. So I've pinned this. I need to be at 9.75, 9.75 or 25 centimeters, which are slightly different, but 25 centimeters for this back piece. What I have accomplished so far, this would be on my back, but this I've been knitting furiously. So I have finished. the back panel, and I finally was able to do my make one left, right, and left, right knit and left, right purl, so that I did get these two nice seams along here. And then the next part, I think I filmed a little bit of casting on this edge here, and then you knit and do some decreases for the armpit, and then you knit and do some increases for the neck. And you do that on both the left and the right side. So I have completed those rounds. And this round that I'm on is where I'm joining the two flaps in the front, joining, sorry, I have them on the needles, but joining these two flaps so that I am have the neckline right here. So I have knit across this first part. I took these stitches off hold, put them on this needle so that I can knit all the way across. But in between, you have to cast on stitches with the backward loop method, which I have never cast on stitches in the middle of a project before. So let's see how this goes. Attempting to cast on with a backwards loop, which I learned how to do this, 29 stitches. Woo, this is actually going to start to feel like a garment. So like this. Like this, okay. Too tight. Not that tight. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 27, 28, 29. Okay, so what do I do once I've done those? Cast on 29 stitches from the middle of the neckline, the backwards loop. Join the left upper front stitches and knit the remaining. Okay, so I just start. When she says join, is it like when you join in the round, or do I just start knitting? I feel like I just start knitting. I mean, I kind of do that when I do, except this is in the front. I need this in the back. I mean, that's, I've never had very much luck with like the other, fancy ways of joining in the round. And on socks, it was so tiny, so you could never see, so it didn't matter. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. I just need to get past this and then figure this out. But I don't know if that matters on here. All it says is join. But it doesn't say how to join. I'm just going to join. This needs to be in the back. Like, stop. Please don't twist. Okay, I for sure do not need this twisted. And look at that. Okay. Go back on here and get scrunched up so I can see that you're not twisted. Come here. Yeah. Okay. I just need to make sure this is not twisted. Those all seem like they're going. Like, she didn't do this part on video, so I really don't want to screw it up. So I don't know. I just have the instructions. And for somebody who's never done this before, straight, does that one look twisted? No, that's straight, 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 straight. Okay, they're straight. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna put you to the back and knit like I knit. Okay, well, I've added stitches and I'm gonna knit this way. So I knit across these 40. I mean, that looks like junk right now, but so that's 109 stitches total, and I think I knit this flat till, so working stockinette flat until upper front is, and then my number of centimeters, measured from the cast on edge at the middle of the neckline. Ends of the last side row is a working side row, or wrong side row. Don't cut the yarn yet. Okay, so I'm just gonna knit back and forth on this until I get to my size number of centimeters. Okay, so here I go. I'll check back in with you when something else interesting comes along. What I will say so far is that besides that initial part, the rest has been relatively easy. I do wish that the video didn't skip some of the steps because some people are doing this as a beginner. So like this middle part, like she said, so you just knit across here and you knit across here and you cast this on. But she basically went from showing you how to do everything to here to skipping all the way ahead to now we're going to throw on the collar. So the couple of things that she didn't really cover were this joining part and then the underarm part, because by the next time she comes back, she's like down to here. So that 9 or 10 centimeters that you knit down. And I feel like we missed this part and this part before jumping into the neck as a beginner. So it would be nice to see that. I mean, now that I've done it once, I can see why you think it was easy, but a lot of people knit this as a beginner sweater because of the tutorial. So I kind of wish it had that. But so far, once I figured out that I just need to do make one left and right normal and just be really like cautious about it when I do it, that was the hardest part. The rest of it has been stuff I've kind of done before. I mean, I've done make one rights on socks, but I got little holes. But like the picking up the stitches along the shoulder, I had done that, picking up gussets. So that's actually where I knew that for me, it's easier to do it with a crochet hook. Mostly it's easier because if you're trying to do it like this, where this is the needle and then you're going into the next one, it kind of stretches the stitches around. So it's hard to see, did I like get in the right stitch? Whereas if you put it on here and then you use a crochet hook just to poke through, it's really easy to leave this side loose, and you can like pretty easily see, okay, here's the next spot I go into. Because I feel like, I mean, I got those pretty darn perfect. I mean, they are on the exact same row on both sides. So for me, it may seem a little slower, but the crochet hook is definitely the way to go. So I'm gonna knit on this and I'll check back in with you. I am listening to me some Bridgerton music in piano form. I really like the sound of the classical music, but in current songs that I know. So I'm going to put that on so that I can just focus at least for the next couple rounds, and not watch anything. And then I will come back. I can't play that out loud, unfortunately, because of copyright. But it's really beautiful. So I do recommend, if you have Apple Music or something, the Bridgerton soundtrack is really pretty, and very relaxing. So, okay. So that was the first knit across. So I officially have I believe this is the neckline. That's a pretty decent sized neck, but because I think it more goes like this. So this is the neckline. So it looks, oh yeah, that's what it does. So here's the back. Here's the back. These are the shoulders. These hang down behind, and then this is the neckline. So I have a neckline. Yay! Okay, I'll be back. I have a little bit of time before work, so I thought I would show you the progress that I've made and then talk about what I'm going to be doing on my lunch and this evening. If anything exciting happens before then, I'll pop in. But let's see where we are. So we got about half of the number of centimeters we need. Somebody space rubbed on this. To where I'm still working this flat. When we get to the about double this amount, that is when I'll join in the round. That's what I'm going to continue working on. I'm really just working on this part flat. And then once I have joined and done like a centimeter or two of the body, she recommends doing the neck so that you can see how it really hangs. And I'm actually really anxious to do that because, as everyone says, first of all, I've never made a sweater before, so I have no idea, but this is a really big neck. So I like to see how that transforms. So I'll check back in with you later. But yeah, this is where I made to yesterday, which was day 3 or 4. Let's see. First day I did half of this. Second day I did the second half. Third day I did this. So yeah, yesterday was the 4th day. And I got to here. So I dropped one strand of the mohair, one row below. So I'm going to take this stitch off. And ladder back to this stitch and catch it. So I only have to ladder back one row. The other one, it's like, I think it's too late to fix. I'm going to check it out, but I've pushed it through to the back. Okay. So there. Okay. I always put them on backwards, but I can tell by feel now. Hey, that's an improvement. I can tell by feel now when they're the wrong direction because I still can't visually tell. They look the same to me. But I can tell by feel that I need to knit through the back loop on this. And tighten it up a little bit more. I'm proud of myself for catching that and fixing it. A question for other advanced knitters. If you're holding this triple, which this is merino and 3 mohair, and you do drop just one loop of one of the mohair strands, but then you pick it up in the very next stitch and you pick it up in the stitch above and below it and to the sides of it, will that unravel? Like, I don't think just that one piece of the stitch can unravel, right? It's kind of like if you accidentally split yarn. I don't think it would, especially with it being 2 pieces of mohair. It's gonna mat itself. I mean, I can say that knitting with mohair does not feel as weird as I thought it was gonna feel. Like, these stick together pretty darn well when they get close. So lots more to go. Good morning. All right, so I'm ending this on this part. I think it's a good place to stop for now. This is the first point that it actually starts to feel like a garment or, you know, a sweater to me. I will say this part was a little more frustrating, especially figuring out the make one lefts and the make one rights. I learned a good lesson about trying to start with the basics before jumping into trying to fix anything, because if I'd have done that from the beginning, I probably would have been fine. So even though it was frustrating, it was still really satisfying when I succeeded and kept going. So the frustration is just learning, and sometimes learning on your own is hard. I never had anyone in my family that could teach me to knit. And I love doing all types of crafty things. I tried learning to knit about 20 years ago when there wasn't YouTube, and it did not turn out very well. So on here, this is like my community. We have a local yarn shop, but their knitting socials at times that I work. So maybe in the future I'll get to go, but for now, all of you experienced knitters and even beginner knitters with advice, because I think you understand where I'm at, is really what has made it so that I'm here now. So, along with that, I did this last time and I think I want to keep doing it, kind of calling it my community moments, is I want to kind of shout out a couple channels that have been inspiring me lately. I have multiples, so this won't be the last time. It's hard to get through the list, but there's one channel that I just love watching them because their back and forth banter and their chapters, I'll call them, you have to watch to see, just make me smile. So it's called Yarn Chick Hen, which is a little play on words. It's a yarn chicken. But I I think that it's just fun to see all of the different things. They're in Scotland, and when I just want something that I can just watch and, smile along or follow along with, I like to watch that channel. I will link these below. And then another one, which is kind of a theme for me, is somebody called Katie Snooks. She's in London, but she's about a year and a half ahead of me. So I really like finding people that have documented from the beginning, which is what I'm doing. And I can kind of watch in fast time. So I binge watch them, where they got in the year and a half or the year that they're ahead of me. It's one of the things that keeps me motivated. And when I have those really frustrating moments, knowing that if I push through, I will, if I keep going in a year from now, I will be in a much different place. I mean, seeing somebody go from knitting their very first sweater to doing color work is just fascinating to me. So I hope to be there in a year, but for now, I'll be documenting this. In the next part, I'll be joining in the round and working in the round. So I was a little bit nervous doing that just because of the issues I'd had here, and I felt confident, and then my confidence fell off. But it's back, and just pushing through has got me further than I expected. It takes me a while. I say all the time I'm a slow knitter, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it as I'm very conscientious, and it's okay if I go slow. It makes my projects last longer, so I save money. I don't need 100 sweaters, so. But yeah, so thanks for being here with me. If you get a chance to subscribe, it really does help new channels. It tells YouTube, hey, this person's worth watching, and that means that other people get a chance to see it. Just some weird algorithm stuff, but that, and then liking and commenting, which I love the comments because, like I said, I feel like this is a community, and I interact with people. If I'm on your channel, you've probably seen me make a long comment, but it's because I feel like I'm having a conversation. So I enjoy having these conversations with you, and I really appreciate every single comment that I get. So again, thanks for spending time with me. Part 2 will be coming up soon. I also have some bread and gardening, but I didn't want to combine them all into one long giant video. So I did some fresh milled flour sandwich bread, some homemade juice, and some work in the garden because it is spring here in Tennessee now. So I hope to see you again next time, and thanks for taking part of your time and spending it with me. I really do appreciate it. Have a good day or evening wherever you are. Oh, this was a tip from somebody that I got on a thing. When you have something that you have to spin a lot, it's a lot easier to spin this bowl than it is to spin the project in your lap. It's just smoother. And it keeps my kitties out because you will have seen them plenty of times in the video, and I probably cut out about 75% of the times that they show up. So thanks a lot. Have a great day.